I sincerely believe that XRP is one of the most undervalued and most misunderstood cryptocurrencies in the game. And I think most of what backs up my theory stems from why I invest into cryptocurrencies in the first place. Let me just quickly put it out there. I think that we are part of something way bigger. Basically, like how we had the internet, you might state that, well, the internet is like Bitcoin with the Bitcoin network, and everything else is just all these different type of attempts to make another internet. That is what some Bitcoin maximalists say. I say the opposite, where the internet is basically this cryptocurrency realm, this new fintech, this new financial technology, everything that's being built to make the world from a technological perspective more streamlined and to a certain extent decentralized from where it's been for a long time. But before we move on, I'll quickly say, if you're interested in trading crypto, make sure you check out 𝗏𝘁. A link is down below. As I've got no KYC, you can join it from anywhere in the world. You might need a VPN if you're in certain countries, but hey, who cares about that? The other link down below is to 𝗬𝗏𝗡, which I don't think you even need a VPN for. But regardless, it's basically a platform where you could trade crypto. Right now, the more you trade, the more rewards you get. So I think every 10K you trade or so, you might get another spin, and you can actually win yourself even a MacBook Pro. So, if you're trading anyway, this is quite nice. And that's besides any deposit bonuses you'll be getting also. For just depositing, you also get some rewards, but you even get that over on Bybit, 𝗬𝗏𝗡. Just links are down below. Check them out. And let's move on with the video. Now, having said that, and it just quickly clicks in, I kind of think it's quite stupid to only focus on Bitcoin and neglect every single altcoin because, well, yeah, you definitely could still make a good sum of money on Bitcoin. I still sincerely believe that. But you're buying the thing that's already most known, which again, logically will probably do better over time, but you're skipping out on all these things which most people overlook that again have different potentials, different hooks and credits, and in this case here now, might also get different support from government levels. And to put it in here, I think, for example, XRP, Cardano, some of those coins are in a way better position to get a new adoption wave. And I never want to say that a coin is going to overtake Bitcoin, but there is potential for it, right? There's no set rules in stone that means, or that say, that just because Bitcoin is the OG, that no other coin can get bigger than it. Even though maybe over a 50-year time span, Bitcoin will become number one, it doesn't necessarily mean no coin could ever overtake it in the short term, or that, for example, and this is one of the funniest things, people laugh at me when I say that, but I had a close family member say, Trump coin is going to overtake Bitcoin, I believe it. And I said, what do you think, you stupid? But then I started thinking about it a little bit more, and I thought, you know what? There is something to be said about, for example, world countries coming together, making a new currency. I'm just stating an example, right? Let's say a shared CBDC of sort, and it actually having more money locked up than that would be on Bitcoin. Is it going to happen? Probably not. I'm just stating that there are ways for it. And just like how Bitcoin went from zero to trillions of dollars now in the last decade, or not even 2 decades, there's nothing that states that another coin can't get bigger than that. Anyway, the reason I'm putting this in here just quickly into your head is because I keep on reading these theories, especially when I look through some of the comments of my previous video of people saying, man, it's so stupid you're talking about this Trump situation. And I basically yesterday stated that with Trump now partnering up with Crypto.com, there's a very high probability that they're going to start pushing XRP ETFs and just more XRP things. But I also get comments like this quite often. Oh, give it a rest. XRP is a scam. I would never invest in that. I'm out, all that. And I keep thinking back, well, the whole idea is pretty much open. And so it's quite hard to see XRP as a scam, straight up. Because what would they be doing? Are you saying they're lying to you? Well, in reality, everything's quite open. You might say some ledgers have gone missing, but is that worse than Ethereum? Is that worse than some of the history of Bitcoin, etc.? Not really. A lot of cryptos have done way, way, way worse. Or you're calling everything a scam, to which I'd state, sure, whatever. But one response would be, does it matter if it's a scam, if you can make a ton of money? I mean, me personally, maybe call me ridiculous, but even if, for example, there's a real stupid scheme, right? If you think you can make a ton, this is just ethical question, I guess, or moral question. Let's say there was an opportunity, a scheme of sorts that is going to collapse, but you are quite certain you can 10x your money in the midst. On the one hand, you know that somebody else will lose their money in a scam scenario, so that might make you not take it. But on the opposite side, you can 10x it. Would you then not take it because you think it's a scheme, or would you still do it because money is money? Now, again, you can kind of pull this ball a bit further. in a poker game, you know, even you winning is going to take away from somebody else. Almost any game in that sense where you're player versus player, whenever you win, somebody else feels the downfall, and the same with trading. Whenever it comes to these cryptos, though, I don't think it's too much of a real scam unless you're talking about a honeypot where you put money in and can't take anything out. Even if you're buying a meme coin that's going to zero, you knew the risks, you knew what you were doing, and unfortunately you failed. The other person was better, but you knew the risks, you knew everything, right? Is it then really a scam? I kind of think it's just a really risky investment that didn't work out for you. Regardless, when it comes to XRP and cryptos of that sort, well, I'd state that most likely the judge for the lawsuit that we've just been through would have looked through it and seen it was a scam and shut it down. The president of the United States would have probably not mentioned these cryptos. Most likely wouldn't go for a big campaign. Most likely those ETF issuers wouldn't have gone for it. Now, you might state that they don't care if it's a scam because they can still make money, to which I again state, if that's the case and it collapses, for example, in 25 years from now, but I'm up 1500x, for example, you know, call me unethical, call me ridiculous, but I don't care that much then. Matter of fact, even if Bitcoin is a scam, it turns out to be, if I make 100x first and the CIA then pops up and says, hey, we made it, you know, you all got fooled. Oh, too bad. Okay. Also, I noticed some criticism on my bathrobe videos recently. But realistically, most people are talking about why is XRP dumping? Why is it not pumping based on all this news and all the good things? And I want to kind of, I guess, so first now I tackled the most misunderstood part, which is you're not buying in. You're not buying in because everything is amazing about it. Because there's no downside that I can think of. With any investment, there's always downside. You're buying in for the most part, I believe. Because, well, there's most likely a new revolution in payments. There's most likely a whole paradigm shift that the US right now is trying to lead. But, you know, a couple of countries are also participating in it. It's a whole new wave. And how do you have the highest probability to be part of it? By buying different cryptos that have a very high likelihood to be top. Now, undervalued part, realize that XRP throughout the entirety of crypto really has actually been one of the best value holding cryptos out there. Most coins have gone down significantly more throughout the last period. I mean, here over the week, for example, XRP turns out to be a little bit of a minus. But if you take a look at the monthly, for example, XRP is holding stronger than most coins in this list. So really, when you start diving through, of course, there's a couple of outliers, but many coins are down double digits throughout the last month or so. Here, just look through. See how many coins are down like 10, or this coin is even down 50%, 20% right there. Mantra down 16%. You get it, right? And so XRP being up, and also for this year-to-date metric, that's basically how the price has gone since the start of the year up till now. Yes, a couple of coins are doing better than it, sure, but out of the top 100, it's still one of the best performers. Just quickly for fun, let's quickly see where it's standing at. It's 11th place out of 100 over the past, I'd say 3 months or so. So really what we're waiting for is Bitcoin to start making its move back upwards to get some excitement back into altcoins, because right now Bitcoin is just siphoning all the liquidity. And that was all caused by Trump making a bit of a ruckus in the market. I got to be honest with you. The moment that Trump came in and started this meme coin, a lot of money was taken out of alts that is yet to come back. And we're waiting for that next new wave for the money to come back. And nobody knows exactly when it will start. But I do believe a good start of it could be new ETFs or Trump doing something. Now, I don't want to place too much emphasis on Trump because he's just one player in a very, very big game. And even if he stops saying anything, the crypto market will thrive and will survive and will do crazy again. But he could just make things easier and more predictable, even though governments usually make things more unpredictable because of regulations, rules, and processes. To a certain extent, the announcements that they make give us some sort of process or idea of what the process is going to look like for the adoption curve, right? Let's say they state, hey, we want to make reserves. We know, okay, that's the basis, and it's going to be coming this date. So over this period, for example, prices will generally speaking going up. Or, hey, we're working on getting ETFs more accessible to people. Hey, we're changing the rules on crypto. All these things, even though they don't necessarily have to reflect over the different countries, usually do. And so they put nicer bases in. Regardless, take a look at this metric. Right now, altcoin season is at a 17. Basically, just Bitcoin is king for a while. Every single bear season, even in a bull market like we're seeing right now, Bitcoin just takes over. And you don't really know what causes things to just shift over and spike up. All I know is that general excitement is quite low. Many people I've spoken to do believe we are actually in a bear market again. I still believe the Pico top will be hit around September or so of this year. But I'm going to say between August and January. So August of this year and January of next year, it's going to be where our peak is at. And afterwards, I do believe once the crypto recession hits, the bear market, it's actually because of a macro recession. of sorts or some sort of heavy pullback. But yeah, I still always get excited looking through here because I realize, man, there's just so many opportunities. Because if you think about it from where this is going to be a few years to the future, that's what makes me excited. Not about where it's going to be over the next few weeks or days, a few years to the future, how many gains you're able to make. And even if you call it all a scam and stupid, just like how people have done with Bitcoin, right? Many people thought Bitcoin was a scam back in 2012. They sold the living crap out of it, and they were happy. Or 2011, when things started crashing a bit later. But then looking at it now, they probably, I don't want to say what they might have done to themselves, but here, I think it would have paid out to just play the game of the scam even though and just get in. But that's just my opinion, I guess. So what was the video about here? Just to quickly summarize, it's misunderstood why people are buying XRP. Partially, they're buying it because they can think it can overtake Bitcoin, or because even though it might not overtake it, right? Maybe it won't. You realize that there is going to be a sort of revolution in payments, which we're seeing right now. And why not bet on some of the best winning horses? Many companies will want to explore this blockchain technology, but need a few years to adapt to this whole landscape, need a few years to build and process. Why not use some solutions that have already been built out for like 12 years? And also, sometimes it's nice to bet on the winning horse. If Ripple has got so much government support, won the lawsuit already, properly regulatorily, I guess, viable, ETFs are not here yet, but it makes sense to apply for these ETFs. It makes sense to, when you make a basket in the US, for example, to go for some of the biggest ones that also are willing to sit down with you, like Ripple did with Trump, and have a proper conversation and maybe give up some equity or whatever to the US. I don't know. It just makes sense. And so sometimes I think it's nice to not really go too much for the underdog, by going to the number 400 coin and trying to win the lottery, so to speak, but just bet big, basically. Go for things that have been winning for a while, most likely will keep winning. XRP went to $3.50 back in 2017, but was only there for like a day or so. This time around, it's slowly but surely creeping its way towards the top. It's been at the $2 range for many, many months now, and I do believe this is the time where once the alt season really hits, this again sees a massive, massive multiplier. But again, that is just my opinion. Just wanted to quickly state that, and that's about it.